Do you believe you can fly? Well, good morning.
Good morning.
It's a real honor to be here, to be asked to share the message with you this morning. It has also been an incredible blessing to be a participant and sit out in those chairs and listen every Sunday morning. And it's a joy to see this congregation move from minister-centered to mission-centered. And it's happening, and I'll talk a little bit more about that a little later. And it has been a deeply spiritual experience for me to see Reverend Judith come into her own in this congregation. I'm a little biased, but I think she's a very inspired spirit. Four years ago, when she was as a licensed Unity teacher, she came to me, and at that point she was the leader of our congregation in Unity in Arizona, and she said, what do you think about my going to ministerial school, getting my Master of Divinity and becoming a minister? And I looked at her and I just simply said, I've been waiting for you to ask. Because I saw her gift of spirit. I saw it every Sunday morning. I saw it as we lived. Because I saw her ability to reach out and to touch people with that spirit. And because of her authenticity and her caring, what you see is what you get with Judy. And my affirmation is that you feel as blessed as I do by her. Well, my talk this morning is, as you can see on the slide, if we bring it up. Next one up, I think. No. It's not there. It's not there, but that's all right. Just back it up. Just back it up. My title is Your Gift of Spirit, and I think it's in your program also. That's what I want to talk to you about this morning. Your nature. Who and what you really are. Who and what you really are. Your capabilities and what you can do if you let go of all of the I can'ts in your life, in any area of your life, that you may have affirmed over the years. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I'm talking about your ability to surpass your ego, that human piece of you that edges God out, your ego. We so often march along in life and don't take command of our God-given power. And I'm talking about that essence of you, your individuality, that totality of you that is in every other human being alive, that is part of the allness, that is God. We so often live from our personality, from ourself, from the gym, from the whomever, put your name in there. But we have the ability to make choices by either coming from our ego or coming from spirit. It is our choice. Yet we live with the belief that we have no choice. We have no control. We are the victims of the happenstance of life, whatever comes, que sera. But you know more than anything else this morning that you have the ability to believe and to know that God is always with you, in you, as you go about your day, as you live your human life. This spiritual center is and is more and more becoming an incredible source of good in Albuquerque. You have evidence all around you of this mission-centric mentality that is coming about. More people in the congregation stepping up and realizing they must substantially support the center also. And we're feeding people. And we're providing warm clothing. Look around you, teddy bears all over the place. Wonderful, wonderful. We're installing lawn signs. I got to tell you something about that too. I saw that up this morning and it triggered something. We've had people drive by our home with our sign in the front yard and they slow up. And the other day, one guy came by very slowly and he looked at it. He braked, he backed up, he looked at the sign, there was somebody else in the car and he went, and he drove off. Yes! That's what we want. That's what we want. pretty soon we're going to be working with documented refugees also.
Yay.
Betsy led us on a little group session here yesterday in a center for refugee women, and it just touches your heart, and I know that there's things that we can do there, and it'll come about. It's going to take some time. And I am personally committed to being a part of all of this, especially one section through Catholic Charities where we're going to have 5 individuals in the congregation who pair up with teenagers for a couple of hours a week. Our outreach is only limited to our inreach, isn't it? To what's in here. That is our willingness to let go of the old ways of looking at things and ourselves. We are all God in expression as us in this world. And our mission is to choose to accept that fact. We can choose to accept it or not, and to live from that belief. Well, I'm going to approach this topic this morning a little differently. Your gifts of spirit. In a unique way, by using a 6-minute outtake, 2 scenes, from a movie titled Beggar Vance. How many of you remember seeing that film? It appeared 17 years ago. In 2000, I can't believe that. I looked at it, it's 2000. Yeah, it was 17 years ago. Seems like it was yesterday to me. It was directed by Robert Redford, and it starred Will Smith and Matt Damon and Charlize Theron, with a cameo appearance, by the way, of Jack Lemmon, if you remember the movie. Now, the message it shares is just as timely today as it was back then, when it first came out. It's a movie about the human condition. And it's a movie about our potential, every one of us. And it's a movie about how we hold ourselves back. How we hold ourselves back from living to our true potential. And it's a movie about golf. Or is it? Or is it? It stars a much younger Will Smith, as they said, as Beggar Vance, and a much younger Matt Damon as a golfer named Juno. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, why is Reverend Jim showing us a movie about golfing to focus on this stuff like my capabilities and my nature and my choices in life? Because it's a movie that talks about surpassing our ego and living from spirit. And allow me to set up the scene for you a little bit. Give you just a little background about what you're going to see in the movie. As we watch, I want you to figure out who you think Beggar Vance represents. I think you can, even in these 2 brief scenes, and they're just a minute plus, each of them. I said scenes because you're going to see 2. Knowing who Juno is important if you haven't seen the movie, and I want to give you a little background on him. He was a local golfing hero before joining up to serve in World War I in France as an infantry captain. And his experience in World War I left him with a bad case of what we today have called PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. It manifested in him as a total lack of confidence in himself. He had lost himself. He had lost himself. Now, the movie takes place after the war, and he finds himself tricked into championing the local golf course to keep it, because it was in deep financial trouble. And there's a woman influencing him throughout this, and that's why I mentioned her name, Charlize Theron. You won't see her in these scenes. Juno is playing against Bobby Jones and Walter Hagen, 2 of the most well-known names in golf history. And he's playing for the prize money that's going to keep that golf course, that local golf course, open. Now, as you watch, put yourself in the role of Juno. And there's going to be a test, I know. I'm just kidding. After the clip, I want to dig into the script dialogue piece by piece for a very good reason. So let's run that first scene. Just going to take a minute here to get it set up. just got to get out of these
Get
slides.
ourselves out of its way. Let it choose us.
Where's the visual?
Look at him. He in the field.
Can you back it up?
You can't see that flag as some dragon you got to slay. Let it look with soft eyes. See the place where the tides and the seasons and the turning of the earth.
We're just going to take the time because I really want you to see this. Yes, yes. I've always been frustrated by it, yet I spent 23 years of my life dealing with technology.
All come together. Everything that
You
is
got to get that slide out of there.
becomes one. You got to seek that place with your soul, Judah.
You're on the second scene, just stop it. Robert, just stop it. We're going to wait just a minute to see if we can square this away, if we can. You know, the irony of this is we had it up before the service started. Well, let's just let it go. Yes, we're going to. He's trying back there, but I don't know. That's the second scene. Just stop it. Cut it off, Robert. Yeah, let's just go. I'm going to go right to the script, I think, because I do have that, and that might help us just to get beyond the fact that we don't have the visual to see. Bagger is looking at Juno, and Juno is standing there, and he is very, very nervous about things because here he is watching Bobby Smith, or Bobby Jones rather, get up to take his drive off of a tee. And Bagger says to Juno, he says, look at his practice swing, almost like a surgeon's. Then he finds it, and then he sets himself right into the middle of it, into his groove. And we hear that whoosh of his swing. And his eyes, he says, are totally focused. He says, almost withdrawn to someplace inside himself. Bagger says, feel that focus. Feel that focus. He's got a lot of shots you could choose from. And you do too. Duffs and tops and skulls, but there's only one shot that is his perfect harmony with the field, that soul-centered place. One shot that's his authentic shot. And that shot is going to choose him. And it chooses us. There's a perfect shot out there trying to find each and every one of us. What we got to do is get ourselves out of the way. God in and through us. You, he said to Juno, he says, look at him. Just look at him. See his eyes, how focused he is. He ain't afeared. And Bagger then says, you can't see that flag as some dragon you gotta slay. You gotta look with soft eyes to see the place where the tides and your fears and the turn of the earth all come together. And each of us does this, seeing through our prayer and through our meditation. And everything that is, Bagger says, becomes one. You got to seek that place with your soul. You got to seek that place with your soul. In the second scene, it's very difficult without the video here, but in the second scene, which I'm going to jump to now, and let me give you a little background here. Juno has hit his ball far into the forest next to the green, or to the forest. And it's in some deep, deep woods. And the woods remind him of his time as a captain in the infantry in Europe. It was a horrible time for him, and it's what got him into that post-traumatic stress that he's dealing with. And he's sitting in the woods, and it makes him freeze just thinking about it. And the soundtrack is such that you hear the sounds of gunfire and shells going off. And he's literally shaking, and he reaches down to pick up that ball. And Bagger comes up at that point, and he says, you're going to want a different club, Juno? And Juno just says, I can't do this. I can't do this. You don't understand. It's so often that our ego says, you can't. I can't do this, whatever it is. And Bagger just says, I don't need to understand. And just insert your name here, each and every one of you. You need to change you. God is constant and unchanging. Bagger says there ain't a soul on earth that ain't got a burden to carry. You've been carrying this one long enough. Time to go on and lay it down. Let go, let God. Each of us has to determine what that burden is for us in our lives. Whatever we've been carrying. And lay it down. Lay it down. Juno says, what am I going to do now? Bagger says, hey, it's your choice. It's your choice. You always have a choice. God gave you that gift. Juno says, it's been too long and it's too deep to lay down. Bagger says, oh no, oh no. It was just a moment ago. Not a blink in the time of God. Bagger says, it's time for you to come out of the shadows, Juno. Time for you to choose. And I invite you this morning, it's time for you to choose. If you live in the shadow about anything, come out of it. Come out of it. Juno says, I can't. Bagger says, yes you can, but you ain't alone. I'm right here with you. I've been here all along. Now play the game. Your game. The one that only you was meant to play. The one that was given to you when you come into this world. You ready? Juno says, okay, I'll do it. Bagger says, okay, take your stance. Strike that ball, Juno. Don't hold back. Give it everything. Now's the time. Get yourself a number. It's going to be your swing. Settle yourself. Now is the time, Juno. You got to go for it. Don't hold back nothing. Give it all you got. And so Juno addresses the ball and settles into his groove. And he blocks out everything but this tiny little window through the forest that he's got that goes right to the green. And he whacks that ball and it goes right up onto the green. And what you can't see from these two scenes, but what I'm going to tell you is that both Hagen and Jones missed their first putts. So it's all even at that point. So what's operating in Juno when he's in the woods? When he's stopped by Bagger from picking up his ball and saying, I can't do this, what's operating? When we say, you don't understand, or I can't do that, or I don't know how, or I don't have the time, the money, the energy, whatever it takes to do something, what are you really saying? What we're really saying is we are not understanding, we're not trusting God. That if we release and let go of whatever self-limiting thoughts that we have, whatever we're holding, and know that God is the constant. God's the constant. And not something that you have to hope for. Not something you have to hope for. God hears you, knowing. And this brings real understanding to us. You know, at one point, you remember in my dialogue here that Juno laments about the trauma felt in World War I. He said the pain was too long-standing. He just couldn't let go of it. What did Bagger say to him? Oh, yes, you can. It's just a moment ago in God's time. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 4 through 11 has something very important to say to us. I invite you all to look it up. Now there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are varieties of services, but the same Lord. And there are varieties of activities, but it is the same God who activates all of them in everyone. To each is given the manifestation of Spirit for the common good. To one is given through the Spirit the utterance of wisdom, and to another the utterance of knowledge, according to that same Spirit. And to another faith by the same Spirit. To another gifts of healing by the one Spirit. And to another the working of miracles. To another prophecy, and to another the discernment of spirits. To another various kinds of tongues, and to another the interpretation of tongues. All these are activated by one and the same Spirit, who allots to each one individually, just as the Spirit chooses. Did God give you a gift? Oh, yes, He did. Do you know what it is? Open up to it. It's not been a long time. It's just a moment ago. Just a moment ago. So it is, you know, with each and every one of us. Each one of us has our own gifts. Each one of us makes our own legends. And to paraphrase our third unity principle, we are constantly creating our world through our thoughts. Charles Fillmore, Unity co-founder, had it right in his great invocation, as it's called, within which he talked about our real power in the form of an affirmation. And I'm going to read it slowly this morning, and as I read it, I invite you to just repeat, close your eyes if you're comfortable, and just turn inward and repeat each line, and I'll go slowly. And make it I, personally. I am now in the presence of pure being. And immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. And in thy divine wisdom now erase my mortal limitations. And from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world. According to thy perfect law. Amen. And just remember, as Bagger Vance said, God's got you. And who was Bagger Vance, by the way? It's a 3-letter word. Yeah, God. Because as French priest and mystic Teilhard de Chardin said, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And that's the bottom line. God bless you, and namaste.